Our guest today, stand-up comedian Ari Shaffir, who's promoting his new show, America's Sweetheart, on Netflix. Ari, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You know, it's interesting because I actually do stand-up, but I actually pass the bar. So I don't know if I can represent the Lord like you can, but it's pretty cool to watch you try.
Yeah, past the bar. That's pretty big. That's pretty big, Jewy.
Yeah, that's a big Jewy thing to do, you know?
Yeah, that's the number one. Isn't it weird? It's like doctor or lawyer, but they're both pretty different.
I think the Indians have taken over all the medicine.
Interesting. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, when you go to a hospital now, a lot of Jews go, "Oh, there's not enough money in it."
Yeah, maybe it's only the pot doctors now make the money.
Yeah, I think that's the way it goes. I was watching one of your specials where you said, "I'm everyone's Jewish friend."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got that too. But they always go to me for questions if they have anything. Like Ari will answer this.
Yeah, I always love, like, I'm the expert in all Judaism, and I'm possibly the worst Jew on the planet. So I make stuff up when they tell me it.
Smart. Yeah, you become an expert, so they're like, I guess we'll trust you. It's like being a tour guide at Graceland. Whatever you say becomes the reality.
I had the worst thing. I had people who used to, every time they saw something Jewish, they would go buy it for me.
And you're like, I'm Jewish. I already have the money.
Yeah. It's always a weird thing. But let's talk about your new Netflix special.
Okay.
Well, you knocked one out. You got to love that.
Yeah, it's called America's Sweetheart. It's pretty stoked on it. Let me put these lights on for you. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it. It's just about like the news and how everybody's all riled up and angry at each other. But it's like trying to not take seriously every major subject you can think of, from domestic violence to terrorism to spousal abuse to school shootings and I don't know, the word retard and everything in between.
Yeah, it's always tough trying to figure out, well, what can I do to piss people off now? I think that's is that the goal? I'm just trying to figure out, because when I do stand up, I'm like going, what can I do to avoid getting my ass beat? I think you just shoot for it and go, this will be a good ass beating.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what can I not say, and then learn how to say it correctly so people like it. But yeah, exactly. Where can I go where people go, you shouldn't be able to say that?
It's always weird because you get somebody in that audience in the middle of a bit where you have said the most offensive things in the world, but now you've said something that touches them, and that's where they draw the line.
Oh yeah, I even get that for this one where it's like, this is mean. How could you say this? I'm like, what about the other stuff? I'm like, oh, I don't care. Like, you don't care about the other people? It's just like their little trigger. It's always pretty interesting. Their little triggers. I mean, I get it. If you bring up football, I'm like a Cowboy fan. It bothers me because we're so terrible. So that's my little trigger. I'm just like, I don't want. There's no such thing as football.
It's tough, because I think about, when you write something like, if you're doing a special almost every year, it means you're test driving about 60 to 2 hours of material every year to knock it down.
Yep.
And to me, that's just, you got to be on the road a lot to do that.
You got to be on the road a lot. It's probably every 2 years instead of every 1 year, but also it's a lot of work. But then it's worth it. You narrow something down, make a good joke, and just like bring it around to the people. It's fun work too. It's not like it's difficult. Just telling jokes about your pubes and Sacramento.
It's fun. You always have to match that to yourself, and I guess you travel a lot now, and you do a lot of travel videos. So I know you were knocking out some jokes about Chairman Mao, and how close to you to go, well, this will get me in jail. This will get me.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in China, I was doing jokes in China. They're like, don't make fun of the government, and I was like, I don't really have any jokes about the Chinese government. But then I was like, let me think of one. And so, yeah, I was saying I was doing a bunch of anti-American politics jokes at the time. And so I was like, what we need is a Mao. We need someone to come murder all of our senators. And everybody in the Chinese audience like, dude, no, don't say that. There's some spy in here. And,
how do you do jokes in China? I mean, if you have an audience full of people who barely speak English or speak English enough, how do you connect with an audience like that where they're going, oh, let me tell you what it's like being Jewish. What's a Jew?
Yeah, no, it's expats.
Okay.
So it's English speakers in China. In Thailand, it's like 50-50. Depends where. But yeah, the Jew jokes work because you make it universal. So I would try to do it in places where there are no Jews. Iceland, Perth, Australia, places like that, where they're like, I've never even heard of Jews, so you better make this funny.
Yeah, it always cuts me up in a way because I've never actually been able to work Jewish into a set, which is kind of funny because you think that would be, that's the go-to.
Obvious with you.
Yeah, I bring the law in all the time, but I don't have to bring the Jew thing in. I think they just assume. So
yeah, exactly. It's obvious. Yeah, they can just look at you and be like, oh, okay, we got it.
Yeah, he's got that look. It's always weird when people don't know. See, for me, I think I'm on the cusp of Jewish and Spanish. So people like talk about Jews around me, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're going there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not bad. You're right. We're like, okay, sure.
Yeah, you ever been around that where somebody starts talking about Jews and they don't know you're Jewish, and you just kind of like look at them and you go, how do you not know?
No, not me. Occasionally, someone's like, wait, you're Jewish? But they wouldn't be talking about Jews. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. And it's like, everyone's like, it's obvious. They're like, how would it be obvious? And you're like, I don't know how to tell you.
You know what's interesting? When I watch somebody's new set and I'm going through their material, I notice this one, it's more story-based.
Me.
Yeah. A lot of times I've seen some of your stuff where it's, there's a lot of punching involved, like, pop joke. This one, you're more stories. Now, do you think that's because you've been on the road a lot? That's because of the travel? Or do you think
maybe because, we get your own audience, you start going longer because they'll trust you with it. But rather than like New York, which is like, you gotta go fast because they don't know who you are. You're following some killer. Yeah, I wonder why it's more story-based. Good observation, though. But, yeah, and I had a storytelling show, too, on Comedy Central for a while, so I just kind of got into, like, long form a little more.
I was talking to Marlon Wayans the other day, and we were talking about...
What a name drop. I was talking to Marlon Wayans.
Well, there are better names to drop, for me. I'd like to drop, I'd rather drop Shatner. More people are interested in that. But we talk, every time I get to talk to a comedian, I get to talk about, how they come up with the bit, how do they know it's perfect? And we were talking about it, and his new show, he has a 30-minute bit. And I'm like, oh, God, dude, that's long, man. To tell a story for 30 minutes, there's got to be serious commitment. And I don't think the audience, a lot of times, has the attention span to go 30 minutes.
That's the thing, too. You start paying stuff off, and they're like, what is this about? And you're like, the thing I've been talking about, like, oh, that was like 15 minutes ago. I don't remember that. Yeah, the attention span's not there anymore. So, but you got to, like, decide for yourself how much you can get them, how much you can keep them, Now, I'm sure Marlon does it in a fun way where he, like, does keep them, or otherwise he just wouldn't go that long.
Now, every comedians I know, they say, oh, I don't mind following somebody. There are people I don't want to follow. I admit it. I'm like... Facts. They're beasts. I don't want to follow anybody who's going to kick my ass where I come out and I just want to hand out money. Here, take some cash. We're good.
Yeah. Just like, guys, can we go home? I'll give you each $5 if you just like let me go home. There's some comics in New York that are so good that it's like, and there's some that you don't even heard of. They're just like new killers that you're just like, well, who's this guy? You thought you have it easy on a Tuesday, and then just like, this guy's crushing. And there's like another one of those every week. And it's a challenge, which is nice. It makes you better. But, man, it sucks. It sucks bombing after some nobody.
Well, I think the difference is that nobody has had 5 minutes he's been working on for a long time. He hasn't had to rewrite, hours and hours of jokes. He's like, I'm going to use the first 10. I guarantee if you follow somebody who crushed you and you see him in the next 2 years from now, he might be doing that same material.
Yeah, that's a fact. A lot of people are like, it's their whole 15, and we're all doing like our 15th 15, so it's like not exactly a 1-to-1 for sure.
It's not fair. I mean, I had a deal with we used to have a monthly show called All for the Money. And and the deal was this, that every one of us, there were 4 of us, we had to come up with 10 brand new minutes. You couldn't go back to your old stuff. Just do 10. And you know how hard it was for people?
It's so different. It's so hard. 10 minutes in a month.
Yeah. Well, you and I both know some people don't write.
That's 2 hours a year.
Yeah.
And that's not even like a chance to work it out. Yeah. Some people don't write. You see them again 3 years later. And you're like, oh, same stuff. You see them again. Like, wow, still same stuff.
It's always interesting because people are afraid of the new stuff because they don't know how people are going to respond to it. So you're sitting there in Siberia when that joke goes out and nothing comes back and you're going, and people get scared and they run to the old material because
Yeah.
it's comforting.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're like, that's what keeps them growing, I guess. But also it's like, you will kill that night.
I was talking with a couple comedians last night about this issue, about canceling and everything else like that. And I was trying to tell them, listen, I think we're actually going into a better age now where we're stopping caring about this stuff. I think we're slowly moving where people go, it's a joke. 5 years of not being able to make a joke.
Yeah, we've been there already for a few years now. Anyone still talking about cancel culture is just like, they're kind of retarded. No, it's just like, we're just back to like people walking out angry. You get a walkout. That's not cancel. You just get a walkout, or you get some people online trying to like threaten your, family members. But it's not like actually getting canceled, or you even get like jobs taken away from you. But like still, it's like, yeah, who cares? We're doing great.
And there's family members you really don't care about. So,
Exactly. Let them go.
I'll give you the address.
Let them go.
I got two brothers. I'll send you to Boston.
Exactly.
I won't even think about it.
I still got a kidney coming. Either way.
It's just funny, man. I do a bit because my son's autistic, and I do this bit about how he's kind of autistic. He's kind of autistic race. He's an autistic racist, and because he recognizes people. If he sees you're black, he's going to come up and talk to you about it. He sees you're Asian, and it gets me in trouble a lot. So I always have to do that shuffle. He's autistic, and slide in.
Yeah, that's right. That's a fun thing. You learn these little words or things that get you out of trouble. You have to say it a certain way. I had a bit about a dog, and I can't get into it on radio, but like, anyway, I had to change the gender of my dog to a male in order for people not to get angry at it. It's just these weird little tweaks that like really have nothing to do with the joke, but lets people accept it or not accept it.
Now, when you have to do a PG bit, and I don't know if you've ever had to, some people don't. They go, hey, I never had to keep my stuff down. I can drop F-bombs. I can do whatever I want, but it's like pulling teeth for me because some of my best stuff is.
Yeah, I chose a long time ago that I'm not even going to think in those terms. I'm just going to do whatever I do. I'm for sure I'm dirty. I'm not like saying I'm not. I curse too much, but anytime somebody says you got to be clean, I go, that's not for me. Like, don't you have any clean jokes? I'm like, yeah, probably, but I don't even want to think whether something's clean or not. It's the same way I don't count the vowels in my sentences. And like, can you just do like a lower vowel sentence? And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So yeah, I just turn those things down. I say, let me find you somebody else.
Now, what cuts me up is comedians love the stuff that's going to get you in the most trouble. When they hear a joke, they go, oh, my God, that's gold. And they know you're going to get hammered for it.
Comedians love it. Like, whoa. It's like they like watching people walk on the line, somebody walking on the ledge. It's like fun. Yeah.
Now, when I think about comedians, people always ask me, the Mount Rushmore, the most important comedians you ever know, living or dying, and it's always hard for me because I've seen some of the best. I've seen Carlin, I've seen Pryor, I've seen, these guys out there. Have you ever watched somebody, and this is tough to ask a performer, have you ever watched somebody go, God, that guy's just brilliant?
Yeah, all the time. Tony Woods. There's just like Kurt Metzger used to be one guy like that where you'd see him, where we like came to New York, and it was just like, wow, his writing is so great. Everything's full circle. It's funny and also just like interesting, point driven, but so funny, but all like one piece. And yeah, you see that. Me and Big J Okerson would just be like, how does he write like this? Nobody write like Metzger. And then you see lots of guys like that, just like high level people, but you see little killers here or there all over. It's kind of fun. New York is such a good comedy town.
How ridiculous is it to get on stage and I wonder if this is the joke that might end my career?
I don't really think about it that much. It's not really, no, nobody's really thinking of it like that anymore. And I don't think they ever were really. I think it was like, it's unfair when people do get in trouble, quote unquote, but like nobody was like, is this one going to get me in trouble? You just do a joke and then later it comes up and you're like, oh, really? That one you guys didn't like? But like, you really didn't like that one? And you're like, you have no idea ahead of time.
I mean, like I remember Kill Tony's joke at the Republican cop, and I was like thinking to myself, You know these people. You know the jokes. Did you think he wasn't going to push it?
Yeah, exactly. Like he was gonna do fun jokes, and there's no way he would have known that would have gone. And that was also all just fake. It was all just like a news story made by like the Democrats to try to win some votes. Let's try to pretend like all Latinos are upset about this. And then you push enough people, then people who read it go, "Oh yeah, I guess I'm Latino. I should be upset about this." And then they make people actually kind of angry, but it was all based on nothing. It was just a joke, and everyone normal recognized that. They're not morons. So, but the news narrative is like people are so upset. It's like, nah, not really though. Just a few people.
Some of the cool things I've been able to do by hosting this show, I get to talk to a lot of rock stars. I get to talk to a lot of people. And I said, what's it like performing in front of 100,000 people, 20,000?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the biggest audience you've been in front of?
I think 6. No, well, Kill Tony was more, but I wasn't really doing stand up there. Yeah, I think 6 in San Francisco once.
And when you walk out and there are like 6,000 people looking at you, I mean, it's got to have a different feeling.
Yeah, it's different. It's like, oh my God, there's so many people. I mean, that Kill Tony thing was like being up on the stage, just looking out at 18,000 people, and I'm giving them the double fingers. It's just like, calling people ugly. It was so fun. It was so fun because I got to go really big because it was like just kind of doing a wrestling character. I was so big. It was so fun.
It's always amazing to me because I know some younger comedians, they come out and they say, I don't have any jokes. I'm just going to be really insulting. I'm going to insult the audience and see how that works for me.
Yeah.
And I always love when that blows up on them.
Yeah, it's nice to have some jokes too. You want to have some jokes too. You don't want to just insult them because then you're just a guy insulting someone. And then they're like, hey, what's the deal, man? Move on.
Yeah, I had to host one night, and the headliner goes, "I brought my buddy. He's going to be awesome." He gets up there and just insults the audience. And 2 minutes in, he's like, "Hey, you got to pull him."
Really?
And how do you pull somebody? You got to go on stage and drag them off. I mean,
yeah, give them the light. If they recognize the light, they'll get off. But if they don't recognize the light, then it's like, oof, they're not going to get off.
No, it's bad. It's not great.
Yeah.
Now, can you see the light? I get lost.
It depends where it is, but they make it so you can see it. They make it so that it's like no matter what you are with the lights in your face, you can be able to see the light. Sometimes like comedy shows all the way to the left, direct left. No one thinks to look there.
Yeah, I get mine to the right. They always hit me on the right when I'm looking left for like 2-3 minutes, and they go, "Hey, you didn't see the light? I wasn't facing the light,
no,
dude.
I didn't see it. Wait for a head nod. Wait for a nod. You're an amateur. You gotta do it. You gotta do it till I nod. Quit being an amateur and wait for the nod."
So where are we next? Where are we on the road next?
Going to California. I'm here for about a week. Just finished in Salt Lake. I'm going to California for some gigs. Then Nashville and Denver and Tampa.
You're going to be in Florida.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm out of Orlando.
Okay. I'll be in Orlando in March.
Where are you going to be? Dr. Phillips? Do you know yet?
No, at the Improv.
The Funny Bone out there?
Maybe it's a Funny Bone. I thought it was an Improv. And then
it used to be the Improv. Now it's the Funny Bone.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I like that one. And then I go to a wedding right then, so I just added that right before the wedding.
That makes it easy. So at least I know I'll probably see you in March then.
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
All right, brother. Yeah, you take care. It was good talking to you, man.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.